6. I'm calling the meeting to order. This time, if you would, please join me in the invocation. Heavenly Father, once again, thank you for all you do for us as individuals, and what you've done for us as we live our lives in support of the people of Fairview, and how we represent ourselves and represent their needs and what they would like things to do. Help us to make the right decisions based upon our faith in you, and what promises that we can make to those around us to keep those promises. To guide and direct us and look after the sick, look after the grieving, and bless all those that fight for all dreams and enjoy. In the name we pray. Please join pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll go through our agenda items here. Call the meeting to order with invocation, pledge of allegiance. Okay, is there any changes in the agenda? If not, I hear a motion to approve the agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
And second.
A second.
Any discussion? Okay, I'll put the name. Okay, I need a motion to approval of the consent agenda.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as printed.
Okay, a second. Okay, any discussion? All in favor, shall put the hand. And that passes. Any public comments? Okay. Presentations done. Okay, items of business. Okay, we'll go through and we're going to talk about, and this will be a combination of Jim and Spencer and myself, and any input you want to have as to these different items. The first one is discuss additional maintenance staffing. You want to start that out?
So staff has been looking at ways that we can possibly save the town money. And one of the things that we investigated was we currently have a contract with Taylor Landscaping Land Services. And they had it broken down, what they're charging us for the park, what they're charging us for town hall, et cetera, et cetera. Right now, our yearly contract for the park mowing is roughly about $36,000. So what staff is proposing is that we add a second town hall / parks maintenance technician. In this position, basically, it would expand on the current position that is occupied by Michael Starnes, and he'll also act as his backup. But the main focus of the position would be the maintenance around town hall, taking over some of the contracts like the cleaning contract. We approved in the budget for 26-27, money's appropriated for washing windows, which I think was about $2,000. A lot of little stuff that we're contracting out that we can do in-house instead of town money. The proposal is that these part-time positions would not accrue more than 20 hours a week, which comes out roughly to 1,040 hours a year. We looked at Mr. Starnes' salary and his hours for last year. He worked 1,060 hours last year, and his gross was just over $25,000, I believe. We are proposing that we add a new position, and that position would make $23.50, which would be $1 less per hour than what Mr. Starnes is currently making. And it would have a cap of 20 hours on there also. The position to start off will be on an as-needed basis only, but I'm sure as we grow and everything, the responsibilities for that position will grow as well. We'd also like to look at, or given the authority by the town board, to revisit our contract with Taylor and still contract out with them to do the town hall for the time being, but relinquish the contract going for the park over to town staff. And also, we will need some operating costs to buy equipment, and I'm thinking that possibly around $12,000. If we were saving $36,000, not doing the park contract, then this new position they did work 20 hours a week, you're looking at about $23,000, which yields about $12,000 that we could use to buy equipment. And that equipment becomes an asset to the town. And I think it'd be very beneficial. Staff's, they'd like for the board to make a motion on this tonight and hopefully pass this so that we can open up this position.
So I understand you correct. You're saying that we'd have $12,000, like by utilizing staff people and buying the equipment, we'd have $12,000
To go towards new equipment.
towards new equipment. And that would, as opposed to paying the 36,000, right?
So in year two, we would have a savings.
Exactly.
In year one, we would. So in, you mentioned that we were paying that company 36.
Mhm.
Was that to do both?
No,
Okay, that was just for the park.
that's just for
Okay.
park. We're paying them another, I think, around $7,500
Okay.
for town hall.
Did you get them the quote just town hall?
No.
Or they might go up if that's the only property they're coming up here to
Mhm.
do. I mean, that there's economies of scale, they'll probably say 10 or whatever. So there might be a
Yeah,
$2,000-3,000 difference there. I don't, that sounds like a lot. Probably not, but they might go up.
and ultimately what we'd like to do is take it over in-house for all mowing services.
Yeah, right.
Is there a reason why you wouldn't want to do that now?
Well, there was a little bit of concern. Right now, we only have one zero-turn mower. I have contacted the county, talked to Jim Chafin, and asked them if they had any more mowers or any type of equipment that they would be surplus this year. He said that they're looking at surplus and another zero-turn lawnmower, but to get back in touch with them the first of the year in January. And if that is accurate, then he'd be happy to put the town's name on it.
Plus, and I guess if I understand correctly, the contract we have with Taylor is we have to just give them 30 days notice.
That's correct.
So we're wondering about if we can get all our ducks in a row, is go into it, stage it to make sure we got everything squared away, and then we'll give them 30 days notice, and then we'll take it over. That way we can, hire the additional technician and get the additional equipment we need to take it up, because we can't do it at this point in time.
Well, I thought you gotta find somebody.
Okay.
But I think it's a great idea.
Speaking of that, we have somebody in mind, that would be a separate issue.
We do have somebody in mind. This is a gentleman, his name's Ron Thomas, and he has spent a lot of time volunteering his services for the town. And so he's recently retired and looking for some part-time work. And I think this will be very beneficial to he and to the town as well. He's really very familiar with the town hall and the needs and all that kind of stuff, so he would be able to hit the ground running.
Okay.
And he has, and I guess it's because of part of the retiring and all that stuff that's involved in retiring, the Social Security thing, he's got a limited amount of money that he can make. And so that money is less than what we're currently paying Michael, what he made last time. So we're not increasing the expenditures for the town for the health, but they're getting the same amount of hours.
That's right.
Am I saying that right? So do we want to, we're not going to give you the overall big picture, so we're not wanting to do the thing with Taylor today, but we do want to consider, what ties in the discussions we're having with Lisa, we do want to consider having a motion to hire Ron to do that position to where we can start making, what they're talking about mainly is helping in opening and closing. For example, well, this is such a good idea, is Ron wants to take vacation or take time off next month.
Michael's taking a week.
Michael, for
Yes.
next month, so this will cover, rather than try to find somebody, that'll cover that. Plus two, we want to start cleaning out more classrooms to maybe accommodate more people if we can do it as far as the tutoring. So that was did I say anything wrong? Am I saying this right? Since I'm not supposed to be here since I'm retired. So how do we, so we're not voting on terminating, let me share a recap. We're not voting on terminating the lawn service at this point in time, but we are looking in the hiring thing, and we're also looking at equipment and stuff where we can
In renegotiating our contract with town hall.
save on. So
So
that,
we're authorizing you to renegotiate the contract
Yes, ma'am.
for town hall, okay,
and terminating. Or,
right,
Yes, ma'am.
which is part of that
or yeah,
negotiation.
and that's, and like I said, and that involves a 30 days notice.
Okay.
And I guess the discussions that we've had among ourselves is it, well, I think it's unfair for somebody to have a contract as long as we have to just drop the ball on. I think we just need to work our way into it, and this is probably Michael's been using that mower that we got from the county. He's been mowing up there where the new van shell would be. So he's already mowing that, and that's working out really well. My understanding is getting that done, and that's not under contract. We're already saving money in respect to that. So before we go into making a motion, any other questions when we started on that road? Or is what's been discussed so far? I know item 8A. So who wants to make a motion to that we go into the negotiation phase with Taylor and also hire Juan Thomas to be the park town hall technician?
Mhm. And also to allow up to $12,000 to be spent on equipment.
I'll make a motion that we enter into negotiation with Taylor Landscaping, is his name?
That's correct.
Taylor Landscaping, to focus their effort on the town hall and away from the park, to authorize town to spend up to $12,000 on equipment for maintenance of the park.
Once we have the negotiation worked out.
That is correct.
Yeah, and to hire Ron Thomas as a second maintenance personnel to assist with maintenance of the park and the town hall.
Let me make a statement. Normally, the next thing I'd be asking, we have a motion been made and asked for a second. Let me say this first. What we're doing right now, the email you got from Jim concerning things going on tonight does not mention what we're talking about. It did not mention it, and I sent that out only because I knew David and John wasn't going to be here. And so give them a heads up of what we were discussing. If they wanted to have any questions, they could let us know ahead of time. I didn't hear anything, but are y'all comfortable with making this motion and making a decision that we go ahead and proceed? Are you comfortable with that without having their input? We have a forum, y'all can vote it in if you want to. I'm sure y'all are comfortable.
Yes,
I'm fine.
So motion to make, okay?
we're talking about saving $12,000 a year. Which really the bottom line here won't be immediate, but it'll be in year 2. We'll save $12,000 a year. I think that's wonderful. And I appreciate your efforts in that. Also wondering what else you found. But yeah.
So the motion's been made, and we have a second.
A second.
Any other further discussion? All in favor, show up with the hand. Okay, motion passes. Okay, 8B, discuss renovation of the remaining room.
What we're looking for there, I know that council has talked about the room back here at the left. I was just wanting to get a formal vote so that Lisa and Ron can start moving forward with this. Lisa said that her program has expanded for this upcoming September, and they're really needing the room sometime at the middle to end of September, correct?
September 14th, is when the fall season starts.
You need a motion to authorize them to
Do the
proceed with the outfit of that
Yeah.
extra classroom.
And there have been some verbal commitments. They're not in writing or anything, but we have one of the parents that's willing to pay up to half for HVAC in that room, and another one of the parents had talked about possibly donating carpet for that room. But we're going to have to investigate those a little bit more before I just want bringing that as information only.
And make sure that there's no conflict of interest, whoever it is.
That is correct.
Yeah, and that there's no strings
Okay.
attached.
I will make the motion that we move into the renovation of the extra classroom space as has been discussed here.
Do we have a second?
A second?
Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay, with that being said, let me have one quick thing. You know, the room over here across the hall from the community room, you know, it's got the refrigerator and stuff. It has come up about making that room look better and make it more presentable for rental if somebody wants to use it to have some kind of deal. I think it's I don't know if it's in writing, and y'all correct me if it is, and I'm not aware of it. But with the carpenter thing, I don't think the town wants anybody to have a meeting in there that involves food because of keeping clean up and all that. So that being said, the room now it would be a place where the staff can go eat lunch and stuff, but also we can rent it out for a function that would have food. With that being said, if
Which room? The one we just talked about?
no, the one with the refrigerator right there.
Oh, okay.
What's been
Because it
cleaned up.
doesn't have carpet.
Didn't have carpet. So that's the thinking process with that. That being said, we have a quote to come in to have that floor waxed. And we have a quote, but we have the equipment to wax it ourselves. And once again, Ron, his volunteer thinking, he said he'd like to try it first. So we're going, if you'll agree to let this all happen, he's going to try to clean it. If not, wax it. We're going to come back and if we can spend the money to have a professional do it if our equipment doesn't adequately do the job. Am I saying that right? So that being said, but the vote we're having now is strictly to do the other room. So we have a motion. That's passed. You just passed, didn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're good on that. I just want to be sure. Okay. Central vendor contract for town services.
So, as we have discussed earlier, staff has gone through and looked at existing contracts that we have. With the possibility of renting this room over here, we were coming up with a rental contract for that room, fees. The other thing that we were adding was hold harmless statement that we're entering into our contracts. So should something happen to personal property or person self, the town cannot be held responsible or liable for that. Most of the contracts, it was some minor revisions. The room rental we did had a fee in there for $50 an hour. And then what was it? We did do a max of $200 for the entire day. We've already got a fee schedule for this room right here, which is $25 a day. But again,
A day or an hour?
I'm sorry, an hour.
No.
Yeah, $25 an hour. Again, what you'll probably find is you'll have groups that maybe want to come in here and use this as a meeting space, but they also want to have food, and so they would potentially rent both these rooms right here simultaneously. But so we amended those contracts. We had all the contracts vetted through Cox Law, and we're also looking at adding a contract in there where the town, in this case, would be for Ms. Thomas, where she can come in, enter into a contract which will hold the town, harmless for anything that would happen to any of the students. She would take on all the liability, responsibility for insurance, and that we have investigated how much we're spending as far as in utility fees. And her portion would be roughly about $150 a month. So that would be the contract fee for her for using the facility.
And that's for the 8 months that you, 7.5 months that you operate.
is actually 10 months.
Of the 10 months?
Yeah,
Okay.
this school year.
10 months, okay. So, so with that being said, the intent was, and the only reason we're doing this, it came up is because people were questioning. And we just want to stay in front of any questioning, and this doesn't reflect on you. Because this is, to me, it's a wonderful program for Fairview, and especially after the Henry family spoke, if people could hear that, and it's just people just trying to stir things up. So this doesn't reflect on you, but we're just trying to keep us, you know what I'm trying to say?
Absolutely.
So that being said, you want to talk your opinion of it before we go into having a motion made to accept the contracts that have been discussed.
We will have them to.
No, I think what I would say is what I said to you when I presented it in January is, we started out meeting in the park, and this was just a retired teacher and retired principal, knowing we weren't done, and felt like that we knew just from both having over 30 years in education that this was a need. Too many kids in a classroom, their needs not being met. So we knew that the need was there. We did not realize how big the need was until we started. And I've always said, when God's behind something, you don't know how big it's going to get. You just have to step out of the way and you have to answer. And I also know that when good things happen, you're always going to have critics too. That's always my sign that we're doing something right. I believe that. When you're doing something right, you're going to be questioned. So I am 100% fine with whatever the council and the town deems is what needs to be paid for rent on the room. I'm absolutely fine with that. My thing would always be for anybody that questions what is happening, for them to come and see, number one, and then number two, ask me, because I'm very open about what revenue comes in and what revenue goes out. And I think if people saw that on paper, they would be shocked and wonder why we're doing this. So, that's all I have to say. I know for the naysayers, you've got about, right at this point, 90 families that would stand up and say, this is a great thing you're doing in this community. If you're a part of it, you think it's fabulous. But if you're not, you're going to question, and I completely understand. So I'm all on board for doing what's best for the town. That's always been my number one thing. And I think this is what's best for the town, and I think people will see that.
Well, that being said, though, without making it a problem for you, do you think it's manageable by you to make it where this thing needs to operate to where you're not being penalized or the people involved? Do you think it's under what we're offering? Is that doable?
And I don't want you guys to worry about that. That's for me to worry about and nobody else. We've made it very affordable for families to be able to get this service. And I think one thing that would, and I don't know if I should say this now, but one thing that maybe I should say, West Stanley Christian Ministries would like to come on board and somehow help with families that cannot pay it off, but their children need these services too. There are too many different organizations and people that are backing this, that I know if this is something that's going to outgrow Town Hall in Fairview, it's going to be made possible. It's not what I want, because I want this community-based program. Maybe it's because I'm old school and I remember the rec programs that they used to have in different communities that, maybe like in the town of Monroe, how they have that. I just see this as nothing but a positive. The only thing that I worry about is not the people that don't understand the process. I do know that the wear and tear of being in a building every day, that is justifiable, but also this building was built for that. So it's not like a regular room. I mean, it was built to house 600 children when it was the old Fairview. So when you think about us having, 75 to 90 children a week in this building, it's nothing compared to what it was built for.
Let me ask you this, would it make a difference? Because this thing, I think in our discussion was based on an annual contract. To see how those things work, it would be better if this thing would reflect its, based on a month-to-month contract, so you can see how it goes.
As far as a payment that we pay, no, I would prefer not to do that.
Still on an annual basis. And you
I
pay
would
each
prefer
month,
for it to be on an
and
annual
then
basis.
in the year it'll be renewed or whatever you wanted, or modified or amended or whatever.
Not only that, for the financial part, for you as a town to say this is something we still feel good about and we want to continue to support this, or it's time that we look at it being housed somewhere else. I think that's in everybody's best interest, the students, the families, the council, everybody.
Well, I think it needs to stay here personally, as long as we can accommodate, the facilities accommodate the number of people that want to be involved in it.
So this, are we on page 24?
Yes.
So I just had a quick question. And I don't know whether this contract is new.
Correct.
Okay, it's new. Yes. So is the requirement for general liability, workman's comp insurance, certificate of insurance, is that new?
For me to carry it,
For you to provide that to the town, a certificate of insurance showing you have general liability and workman's comp?
absolute workman's comp is not a part.
That's on here now, so.
Yes, that is not, I don't believe, Kitty. I don't believe.
Yeah, and
But I do have a $2 million policy on the children.
Okay.
That is what I have.
Yeah.
I have not given you that, and I may be giving you a copy of that.
So does that need to be deleted about the workman's comp in that contract?
Well,
then?
we just need to talk about that, the workman's comp,
So what-
whether or not that's part of this.
Yeah, if
Requirement.
they get injured, they potentially sue the town.
Like
It's on our premises.
if a teacher gets injured on Friday,
It's be fairly inexpensive.
it shouldn't be expensive.
I think that you can fold it in with that insurance process you got now, can't you?
Well, typically, it'll need to be a separate policy. Okay, you have a general liability policy, and you have a workers' comp. But like I say, the workers' comp, it being clerical, it shouldn't be a terrible amount. I mean, it might be a couple $1,000s to improve. It shouldn't be terrible.
That even seems high to me, but
Maybe
yeah,
more.
Okay.
I mean,
So that being
I
said,
don't know,
can we
they're
proceed?
not working that many.
What do you think your annual payroll, or how much will you pay them annually? Is that-
Well, we got 13 teachers, but that's hard to say because some teachers are only working 3 hours a week, whereas some are working 12 hours a week. So are you asking me
Yeah, how much monthly you pay?
pay out for our teachers? Give me a minute to calculate that.
Well, it's just something that, it's just, I wanted to make sure you were aware that that was in this contract.
No, but I'm glad you brought it up. Thank you.
So can we proceed on, or do we have to wait to clarify that?
So for about a year, you have $1,000.
I'm thinking $1,200, $1,500 maybe.
Well, yeah, the minimum,
A year.
Oh, okay.
minimum on that's $850 or used to be. Maybe a little bit more than that now. Just a minimum policy
Oh,
for workers' comp.
okay.
But in your opinion, having health insurance, you think it's
Well,
for both sides, it's work, we should have it in there.
we would need it just in case
Yeah.
they would be easier. And they could come back against us.
So does that make you think?
Just
twice
want to make
about
sure that you knew that was in there and that it's doable, like,
We want you as covered as well as the town covered, so. With that being said, are we comfortable proceeding down that road based upon what you said, and like I said, it's So one of those things that, I hate we're in this position having, like, if it ain't broke, we'll try to fix it. And it ain't broke. Nobody thinks this thing broke. It's just a matter of we've got people complaining. And I apologize for having to have one, 2 or 3 or 5 or 6 people ruin something for 4,000 people in residence. But I guess that's life. I don't know.
Should we give Lisa a chance to,
Well, you can still make a motion tonight to adopt the contract as revised.
The contracts, but not necessarily, it's not valid until she actually signs the contract.
Yeah, because all we're doing is we're approving contracts.
I mean, this is a general use contract. I mean, it's gonna be used for,
Yes.
So why don't we do that? Why don't we have a motion to approve the contracts as discussed?
Mhm.
And then they're only valid till both parties have signed the contract. Does that make sense?
so if we do that, and there's a showstopper in there for her that wouldn't bother us if she took it out, then we can negotiate that out.
That's correct.
Okay, all right. I just wanna make sure we're not,
I have a question on page 25. Middle of the page, see, number 4, facility rules and responsibilities. And it says ensure minors are supervised at all times and submit a background check. So I'm understanding these would be the children in the program that are to be supervised. You know, to me, that's a given, but I was looking at this about the background.
Background check for the student or
That would
for the
be the
teacher?
adult.
For the teacher, not the student. Is that correct?
Correct. But one thing to think about is we're good about doing that anyway. For instance, the teachers that are running our summer camp have had background checks. But is that going to apply for anybody that has supervision in events at the park? You see what I'm saying? Is this just for activities, whether it be summer camp or the tutoring program?
Or festival and fun?
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, it would be for anything that, or any activity that requires that contract be signed. And,
If she, with her contract, she's only signing for the tutoring, she's not signing for events in the park.
No.
no, but she's just raising the point that
Oh, yeah.
if you have this contract, it's gonna apply to across the board and you can only use this contract. So any event where there's people who are supervising children in the park, where they're signing this contract, those people who are supervising children have to pass a background check.
And so that's something that we can have a separate contract. Well, for the camp, does the camp come under, does it come under you as well?
It comes under the town.
Under the events?
Because it's an event sponsored by the town. But anytime, if you're a UCPS employee, you've had a background check. So everybody that is involved with our tutoring or through summer camps is a UCPS employee or just recently retired, so they've had it.
Correct. Melanie said if they are an employee of UCPS, they are covered. We do not have to request a background check.
Okay, so does that answer your question?
Well, pretty much. I guess I'm wondering how this applies if some other event.
I just want to clarify also, we're not collecting background checks.
Melanie said that would be on her.
That's what I mean.
Correct.
We're not,
Now, there was
we're
summer camp.
basically saying this is not our responsibility. If there's no issue, you sign a contract saying you've done background checks. That's what this is.
Mhm.
So I just wanted to make sure we were on the same page there. Yeah.
So basically, we're back to where we need a motion to approve the contracts as discussed
And that's submitted.
And that's submitted, that's all all we need a motion for as far as, and then those contracts will become valid when we sign and the individuals involved in whatever contract is signed. At that point in time, it's in effect, is that correct?
That's true.
And we comfortable with that, so we need a motion. If everybody's at that point in time, they'll be good making a motion at that point in time.
Yeah.
Make a motion. Okay.
Make a motion that we approve these general use contracts as submitted.
We have a second.
A second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, show of hands. That passes. Are you comfortable? Okay, now we are down to 8D, proposed amphitheater, is that correct?
And what I'd like to do, if I can we bundle 8D and 8D?
Sure.
And I wanted to give some good use to our new television sets, and so I created a little PowerPoint. Spencer, if you'll advance to the next screen. When we adopted the budget, there was concern about having to take roughly $143,000 out of the general fund to go towards the park fund. And that we were starting to get really close to our restricted funds. So I've been talking with staff, with Ed, Teresa, and with the mayor about, is there anything else that we can do? Because I know the idea of having an amphitheater is a really neat idea. It's a beautiful building that we were looking at. But how often is an amphitheater actually going to be used? And $130,000 for a structure that gets used maybe once, twice a year. I'm having a hard time liking that rule. So I was trying to think, okay, what are other things that we can possibly do? And one of the things I talked to Ed and the mayor about was maybe we come up with a larger picnic shelter that we put down there that can be a multifunctional building. It could act as an amphitheater for bands. It could house larger functions down there. And we also have the potential of getting yearly revenue off of it. So I reached out to John Wood and asked him, said, look, can you go and look and see what's available out there for a larger picnic shelter, roughly 30 by 30 or 36 by 36, and give me some costs. The mayor and I both thought the costs were going to come in a lot less than they did. On this cost sheet that you can see right up here, for the band shell, he gives the product and delivery cost, and then he also gives the installation cost. And with change orders and everything, we're probably looking $130, and then an additional $25,000 to do the electrical work down there. So we're still going to have that $25,000 for the electrical work, but the band shell is roughly about 700 square foot. These other structures that you're seeing on there are about 900 square foot. So they're larger structures, and the way they're set up, they give a lot more versatility to them for other functions. If you will proceed on to the next. So this right here is the band shell that we're currently looking at. Some of the other shelters that he was giving examples, Spencer, next slide. This right here, well, this is another amphitheater, but it's taller, it's bigger, it's 25 by 30, but it came in at $82,000. The next slide, please. Yeah. 26 by 30 monoslope, 3 plain Jane, 56, 830. And again, this is much larger, just shy of 900 square foot. This would be another monoslope. It's 30 by 30. Very, very simple, $51,000. What the monoslopes would do is kind of gives you that same feel as the band shelter, but it's just not spruced up. And then I believe there is one more slide on there. This right here is the gable roof. It's about the same cost as the proposed band shell, a lot more versatile, and it also mimics the shelter that we currently have out there at the park. Now, this is just on here just for information purposes only. We're not looking for any type of motion or vote tonight. But what I wanted to do is point some options out so that the council can start discussing this. In fact, Gary has got some good news concerning the adoption of the budget, which can really help us out. And if things go the way I'd love to see them go, then that $250,000 that we have appropriated for the park goes right back into fund balance.
And I sent out, I called all the town council to let them know, and I think word probably got out, that we were awarded $250,000 by the state. 200,000 from the state towards improvements in our town. With that being said, so we have $200,000, and my question, I got a question for Darryl before we get into that is, we don't know when we're going to start getting that. When we do get it, can we get it? Will we be reimbursed as we spend the money, or will they just give us all 200,000 like at one time? What's your feelings on that?
Oh, I'm trying to think the previous ones that we've done. Seems like we got that money up front.
Up front, but you have to report it into.
Oh, we have to do quarterly reporting.
So I guess my thinking is, if we do that, is if as soon as we get it, is we take that 200,000 and put it in your money market account. Can we do that?
Yeah.
Put that in there and start drawing the interest on it until we make all these decisions as we go. So that'll help out in whatever we spend.
Yeah.
So that's one thought is. The other thought is, as far as which way we want to go, that'll be a town council decision, and based upon what they think and what input they get from the town itself. What if, in our discussions at the band shell, and people have been saying this all along, it seems crazy to do a band shelter is something we do once or twice a year, as opposed to doing a shelter, which we could use, like Jim said, year round. The thing what really changed my mind is was the Too Much Sylvia thing last month, is that and I assume that structure there, that's square, right?
Yes, sir.
So that being said, if it's square, when we have something down, if we decide to go that way, or if y'all decide to go that way, is we can, when we have music and have a band, you can do the direction depending upon the weather. So in other words, if it's going to be hot as it has been, the band can be positioned within the shelter with people sitting across the track in the woods where they're in the shade. And then otherwise they can do it the other way when it's not hot and stuff. So you get two options. So that appealed to me, and I'm not trying to sway anybody, but I think that idea, one, is the price is about the same, but I think the versatility, that makes a difference, because I think it was so hot that they were here, and so I think it makes a big difference. And plus the being able to, my thinking, and I'm relating back when I grew up. And I grew up in Charlotte. If y'all been to Freedom Park, Charlotte. Mm-hmm. I grew up in Charlotte here at Freedom Park. And at least twice a year, the church I went to, they had their annual church picnics in Freedom Park. And they go out there and they would rent the facility. And I remember those 70 years ago. It was great. So I think this would really appeal to somebody on once the word gets out, the number of churches and organizations. I think that will probably generate more interest in the park and probably more income coming in than the band shell. Because the band shell generates money going out, since we don't charge for a band coming in. So that money goes out and we don't retain the money, as opposed to this. I think we could get some of that. That's just my perception. That was one of those. But this decision, I think, and this is my opinion too, is I think this needs to be a whole town council decision. Just want to give you a heads up and not ask for a motion today, but bring it up as to what we do next. In the meantime, when we start getting the money, that'll make the decision a lot easier to make. But that's and, and just do a straw vote, everybody's at least included. What's your opinion on going with the shelter concept as opposed to a van shelter? Any opinions?
I think it's great to have a multi-use facility. I've been sitting here thinking, why didn't this come up as an option sooner? You know, we've been talking about this such a long time.
But you gotta get some fresh blood in here to think outside the box.
Yeah.
We're
Well, Gail
not
and
really
Lisa,
a little bit.
Gail and Lisa have been telling me that, and Fred Rogers, of all people, said,
We got
that's crazy to have a
to
band
pay
shelter.
somebody to
So,
come in with them. Yeah. I have a question about this letter from Dinesh.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do not remember that, in fact, I specifically remember discussing that what we were hiring them to do was do the design and then bid it out. This says, our contract with the town was based on using the design build option with no bidding. That is not my recollection of our conversation with them. Maybe in the contract, but that's not my recollection. And so if that is the case, then the fee that we negotiated with them, in my mind, contained bidding, which they did put out the electrical and got no bids back. So I'm
Right.
trying to figure out what they're doing for us outside of going to a vendor, getting a pre-designed band sheet work. That's pre-designed. What are they doing to earn the $20,000 or $30,000 that we're paying? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
And I don't,
Because
yeah, I don't have
They
an
didn't
answer
bid,
for
they're
you.
not bidding it, and the little bit of effort they put in, they didn't get much. They didn't get anything. I mean, we're supposed to end up with a competitive bid for the installation, a competitive bid for and it could be competitive bid for design build, but we didn't go through that with them. We just gave them a contract to design and bid it out. So
and the way
I'd
I-
like to
Yeah.
look into all that,
Yeah,
because
definitely.
I'm not, this letter kind of like
And the way I
flew all over
remember,
me.
the way I remember this thing with the band shelter you saw there that we talked about getting, we got that ourselves.
Exactly.
We
So
got it
I'm trying
from-
to figure out what they've
Oak
done
Island.
to earn whatever we're paying them. What am I missing?
Yeah, staff would be happy to look into that and see if we can come up with some answers. Unfortunately, I came in at the tail end of that, so I was not part of any of those negotiations or the contract. But I can definitely give Ed a call and ask him, if he can shed some light on it.
Okay.
I still got my fingers crossed. It's probably not gonna happen, but Fernando will come through and help us out.
Yeah, and I think Ed's position was, the whole reason to hire Benesh was to have them manage the process.
Manage the bid.
Mhm. And
That says there's no bidding.
Mhm.
I'm like, well,
And I had a hard time swallowing that for that band shell. I mean, they could probably have it up in 2 weeks. And we're gonna pay something like $67,000 for that.
yeah.
Plus, well, and I haven't heard it being mentioned in your presentation, maybe you're not aware of it, and maybe I'm totally misunderstanding. But that money we're talking about, band shell, that doesn't include the money we're gonna have to spend on the site plan and all the other stuff we gotta get to the county, and I've heard that number's probably $3,000 or $4,000, is that correct? We'll have to do that, we'll have to do the same whether it's for shelter or for that, but
And
that's.
that's what Benesh is probably supposed to be doing, a site plan, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, they're the engineering firm for that.
Yeah.
And so, yes, they would do that site plan and turn in all the construction documents. I think that what they're looking for is they're trying to find pre-engineered stuff. Because of the pre-engineered structures, A lot of times for these pole sheds, there's nothing in the commercial maintenance code that addresses them. So they have to be engineered in order for you to get a building permit.
So where Benesh is earning their money is the site plan and the electrical plan
In managing the process.
and managing the bid process.
Which is not one.
So, well, he's saying there's no bid process for the structure. He's not saying there's not a bid process for the engineer or the electrical, and he didn't say that about the site plan. So he didn't say any of that, but he did say he bid out the electrical and nobody bid on it, which that doesn't make any sense to me, but.
So, well, like I said, that being said, we're not voting on it tonight, but if you can find some discussions, like I said, we all may remember things happening in a different way. I know that, well, I'm hoping for Fernando. I'm probably wasting my time hoping, but my Sunday school lesson was about faith. Well, I got faith that Fernando will go through, but what he does or not, I don't know. But Ed, when I mentioned at the end, way back when, is that if Fernando would come through and say, because Fernando's not a contractor. Fernando, his deal would be, and the last thing that he told me, and I may have told you that last time, was the guy that he worked, the steel erection that Fernando does, he has one customer, and that's his steel company. He does all their work. And so that, I mean, correct me if I'm what he said this, when I talked to him the last time, was he said that they came out and they wanted $170,000 for the design of whatever, the band shell, whatever we wanted to do, was what they were going to charge. I said, well, we can't do that. He said, well, and this is something that I can't relate to, and Kerry probably can, more than, and maybe Jim and Daryl as well, is that he said the work he has done for this steel company, he's got $2 million in, what do you call it, when the
Change orders.
And said Fernando has agreed that $2 million, that whatever it takes to design the building and all the stuff can come out of that change order that they wouldn't have to pay. That makes sense? So in other words, if it's $170,000, they'll only owe him $1,300,000, or whatever it is. That 170 would come out of that $2 million. 170,000 would come out of that $2 million. They wouldn't have to pay him. They would allow us to get the thing done. And that's just the start. So that's what I keep hoping for. But I think Ed's was thinking is what Panesh would be doing, if that's the case, would be they would be doing the supervision rather than us, which I don't mean that, supervision of Fernando and what he does and how he does it, to be sure we cover all our squares. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I don't, you might know how to handle. I don't know how to handle.
No, I'm just wondering if he's talking about doing that steel work through the company he's currently working through. Is that what he's saying?
Yes.
And so, okay. And so they would be the ones responsible for what, because that's the issue that you get into anytime you deal with construction and somebody takes on part of that construction, even if they donate it, who's going to warranty that work if it falls over, right? You know,
Well, in this
then
case,
you get into this and you can't have that. So you have to have clearly people taking responsibility for the work that's done.
that may be why, that's why Ed's been reluctant to consider
that's
Fernando,
why.
is because
Because of warranty.
the Fernando is not a contractor. He just does the erection of the steel based upon the contractor. Well, his cousin is the contractor that lives here, so he would be the one doing the construction, so he'd have to bear the responsibility, and that's something that I guess Panesh would have to ensure that's understood, or we do. So
Well, if he's talking about donating some work, then we need to be in touch with his cousin
correct.
about like the construction of whatever building we decide on and negotiating. That's just part.
Sure.
Yeah.
But like I said, we're not deciding that tonight. This is just
No.
food for thought to look into and talk about, and so get your opinion. If you talk to somebody, what we're thinking, and I don't know if y'all agree or disagree, and it's totally up to you if you want to tell me, but it seems in the overall big scheme of things, the shelter provides more versatility and a better use of our part. So that being said, we're just, Fernando has no idea what we're thinking about. He was gonna have them design whatever they wanted, they thought would be fitting, if they're providing the steel, so that's where we
And
are.
that may be the cheapest route too.
Oh, yeah, it should be. Well, we
We should talk to them.
yeah, well, still, he's supposed to be getting back, but I think he's doing really, really good, because I know when I talked to him, he was in Pennsylvania buying a new crane. He was getting ready to drive a crane from Pennsylvania to Georgia, so.
I think anybody's buying a crane is doing pretty good.
Yeah. And y'all probably heard this, for those that I haven't been to an event, but if you want to see his work, is the bowl at Valentine. He did that. Have you seen the bowl at Valentine? It's unbelievable. We're talking 10 times bigger than we're talking. It's got one of those, we call it disappearing, we call it when got water running off the front of it, makes a waterfall.
Oh, yeah.
It's nice. If you get a chance, he
Seen
did
on
the bowl.
commercials.
Yeah, he did the bowl at Valentine, so he's got it.
That's great.
Okay, so I'm showing, we've gone through D and E,
Yes.
so we satisfied that. Okay, anything that, the comments, anything else? And I'm glad you brought up I hope the word got out about the 200,000, so, if we can take it, as soon as we can get it to Harold and all that stuff, we can get that into.
Yeah, they'll probably be sending you a contract and then we'll have to send them some documentation and all, and they'll send us you.
Yeah, like you said, I'm glad, I'm grateful, the timing's perfect for that, to do that.
It is.
Well, do you have any comments?
A motion to change the price of the picnic shelter.
Yeah.
Change the price.
Correct. It used to be $200 to
Oh,
rent a
okay,
picnic
so we
shelter for
do
8
need,
hours.
we do need a motion for that.
Correct.
Okay, yeah, we need a motion for the change of the picnic shelter.
So it was
Park.
$75 for 4 hours or $200 for 8 hours. Well, nobody was doing that because it didn't add up very well. So we just changed it to $150 for the 8 hours.
So we're gonna need a motion to change it from 200 to 8 hours to 150 and 75 an hour, otherwise.
I move that we approve the change in rental fees so that 4 hours will now cost $75 or all day for $150.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? So, I'll put that. Before we go to comments, I'll be sure, we've gone over so much and back and forth and back and forth. Okay, make sure I'm right, and my understanding is we have hired Ron if he agrees to the stipulations of the hiring based upon the contract,
The job description.
job description. So are you going to contact Ron?
Yeah, I'll make contact with Ron tomorrow.
Okay. Are you going to give him permission to do that?
Yeah, stay out of that.
Okay, with that being said, council, I'm sorry.
We haven't done room
Oh, room rental, we got to have a motion on that too?
Yeah, because that's that way we set the fee.
Okay. So I need a motion. Do you want to go with what's in on 35?
So we're not openly advertising that we have 2 rooms for rent. It's kind of if you have a birthday party and you want to come here, you get this room over here. We're gonna leave that tile, so that way there's food, it's over there. If you come forth and you want to teach a yoga class, I can tell you, oh, well, we have the carpet room, that you can rent that one if you prefer that one. But there's no food allowed in the carpet, which is right here. So basically, this application is for the one on the right.
Unless you're having a retirement party.
Correct.
So
We weren't ready for it.
yes, are we saying then, didn't I hear earlier that the rent for this one is 25?
Correct, and that was voted on many years ago.
So is that 20, well, I thought, Say it again. Now, I thought I understood was if you rented that room, but you want to have food over there and you want to use this room, that was 50, this would be 25, but that.
You have the
room by-
opportunity to rent both if you wanted them
Yeah,
at the
but
same
so by
time.
itself, it's 50 over here still, it's still 25?
25, because you're not allowed food, anything like that.
Okay.
Also, just like a meeting.
Yeah, it would be like their meeting.
Okay.
Correct,
And that is for, by the hour?
correct. And that was done years ago.
So what motion is on the floor now? I've lost control.
We don't have one.
I don't have, I need a motion.
You need one.
I need a motion.
I will make the motion that we establish, $50 an hour for the rental fee of the room that has the tile floor. And no changes to anything.
Currently, do I have a second? Any further discussion? All in favor, good thing. All the voting motions have, okay, so I'm recapping here, I'm jumping over your comment. So we'll go back to, well, we have a deal with the contract, we're gonna talk to Ron about the contract. And then we've also agreed to go ahead and start cleaning out the room, utilizing Ron. So is that not gonna start until after you talk to Ron and he agrees to sign the contract? Is that correct?
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll tell him that the position got approved, and I will offer him the job if he wants to accept it.
Okay, any other comments?
I have a question. We have a comment about, the money coming to us from the state budget. What limitations do we have?
Well, we don't have a official, it's not, we've been told by Dean Arthur, we've got the money unless you have.
Well, it's got the description here, provides a directed grant to the town of Fairview for capital improvements. That's all it specifies.
But in the past, so we had to, whenever we spent money, we had to let them know how.
Oh, yeah, we'll have to do that again.
That's the stipulation. Wasn't that true last time?
Yeah.
And we probably need to find out.
Now, we closed out we're not closed them out, but we spent all the money from the other two grants.
Right. Other comments? Ain't nothing for me other than, thanks for what you do. Sorry, and I feel bad discussions we had over the same as you, because it doesn't reflect on you by having that. We're just trying to keep everybody happy, but you never gonna do that. And I can't believe somebody would complain about it, but that's life. So I hope you're comfortable.
I'm great. The one thing I will say that, just FYI, and I know Spencer will be advertising soon, August the 4th is our next presentation that we're having, and that's by Pinnacle Bank. They're coming out to do like a finance budgeting meeting for the community. So if you just want to spread that word.
And you okay with me coming tomorrow at 12?
Absolutely.
So that's like personal,
It's like
personal finance.
personal finances, budgeting. that type of thing.
So we could mandate our kids come to that.
Absolutely. And Spencer and I are very open to and thinking about, it's time to start thinking about next year, starting to plan events. If any ideas, throw them our way because we are really scrambling. And we also have the blood drive coming up in August. And Spencer, do you remember the date for our hand? It's the last week in August.
Well, did Dr. Miracle's thing ever happen? Or is it gonna happen?
That has not
He's my best. I'll
not
make it.
panned out yet.
Well, kind of hard to talk to him. He's got his hand in her mouth.
Is it the American Red Cross or the American Community? Or the
It's the
community?
American Red Cross. They came out and they looked at this room, community room, to use for the blood drive, but now we may want them to go in the other one. I don't know.
So in the discussion with Ron, you mentioned him about attempting to use them if he agrees, the contract attempting to do the floor here, not, we won't go ahead and get the other individual to do it if it's not to Ron's satisfaction, is that correct?
Yes, it's not, just to clarify, it won't be a contract. He'll have an employment agreement that he signs,
Yeah, okay,
and then he's got a job description.
all right.
The blood drive is August 27th.
And are you still having Jesse do her thing? I can't remember. Did you schedule her?
No, I cried.
Oh, okay.
And we talked to her, I remember that.
I just want, because she's getting married.
She's busy.
October 23rd.
Spencer, you got any other comments you'd like to make?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Darryl?
Good.
I just want to thank the board for everything you guys did tonight.
I'm not sure what we did. Sure.
Unless somebody's heard of a change, I think tomorrow is the day for Ollie to come. The library vehicle.
To the
And
park.
they changed the hours. I think it's 10 to 12.
Yeah.
Last year it was different.
That's gonna be in the park.
In the park, yes.
I think it's all appropriate, it seems to me, because, having two people is gonna make things operate better as far as giving both of them, if they need time off, they get time off, the park's covered, One of the things we discussed was just leaving park open all the time, not open included. I think that's a reliability issue I'm really concerned about doing that. We need to have, if we had our own police department controlling it, since we don't, I think we're better off having our own. We control the hours, control who's in the park, we're at the room. Well, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Adjourn. Thank you very much. Appreciate your patience back and forth for doing all this.